What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We're on episode 367. I had to think about it for a sec. It's been a few weeks since our awesome 365 live stream. It was a super fun episode. Still thinking about it. Definitely thrown off a little bit today because we totally forgot Cody was going to be out this week. So.
I think he might have even mentioned it on the podcast and we just forgot.
He did. He did. I totally but we still got some stuff to geek out about. We do have some more interesting news, I think, than past weeks. Things are still a little weird with the strikes and stuff going on. But yep, so again, I'm here with Shelley Nollan.
Hello.
And then I am Lj.Lowery, your host for the evening. So, we'll get started. Anything new you've been playing, Shelley?
I haven't been playing anything new. My husband did finish Spider-Man 2. I don't know if he had finished it by last time, but anyway, it's still, there's nothing necessarily more new or interesting to say other than, good game, right. Looks cool. I am just gonna wait, I think, to play it when New Game Plus is out. Just so I can have all the suits and have everything that I want. And I know that he's gonna definitely platinum the game, and maybe I'll help him with that. I don't know, figure that out. But it's kind of hard to platinum the game right now. There's some side questing that kind of gets locked out if you're in the end game, and the only way to go back is to unlock him is to, as far as we can tell, is to restart. Potentially,
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, so that's another reason we're let's just do New Game Plus. It'll be way easier to deal with that. But who knows? Maybe there's another way to do it. But either way, we kind of jumped back into Baldur's Gate 3.
Nice.
We made a lot of progress. I don't know. I know Act 1 is pretty long. Act 2, I was told, is the shortest. Then Act 3 is supposed to be stupid long. We basically blasted through Act 2. We had already started before Spider-Man came out, but we're basically done with it as far as I'm aware. I think we're just cleaning up some final quests, which, it's definitely a lot shorter than Act 1, but it felt reasonable. It felt like a nice arc. It felt like I always knew where the plot was. I always kind of knew, what we were supposed to be doing, and there's some side stuff, and there's some other, place to explore, and there's some things happening, but it didn't really feel too overwhelming. It felt like we're oh, okay, cool. We're kind of moving things along nicely, which is good. So that almost makes me a little bit nervous for Act 3. That's when everything kind of goes down, supposedly, right? That's kind of closer to the end of the game. But it's the fact that it's supposed to be so big and all of these things that you do in Act 1 and 2 culminate into Act 3, NPCs. You meet or decisions you make, a lot of it kind of just comes back in Act 3. So I'm interested to see what that kind of looks like. But
that sounds cool.
At the same time, I'm okay, we're 80 hours into this game.
80 hours because I remember you saying the first act took a long time to drag.
Yeah, so I don't know how many hours it's going to take to finish. But the problem, too, is I already know, we're already talking about, on our next playthrough, we're going to do this, this, and that, so... it's fun. They did put out that 11 gig patch recently, which did fix some issues that we were experiencing, but there were still some other issues. Basically, with every patch they roll out, it fixes some issues. And
there's more issues.
Yeah, exactly. It just kind of happens.
That's crazy.
Bugs, so. But it's been pretty fun still. In fact, I think I'm having more fun in Act 2. Or have had been, because it has been so much more, less running around trying to find things to do. It's more we know what we need to do. It's just a matter of, do we go off track a little bit and explore some stuff, or do we just stay on target? Whereas the first act, sometimes I was I don't even know where the target is. You kind of have to wander and find it. So in Act 3, who knows? I have no clue if that's also going to be more of a just explore and talk to everything and everyone, or we kind of have this idea of what we need to do. So maybe it'll be more like that. So, I don't know. Hope it'll be good. Hope it'll be fun. I mean, I know it will be. It's been really good. It's been really fun. It's just,
I'm sure taking a break was nice, too, from it, because y'all were getting...
Yes. I think that was a big help. Just kind of taking a break and playing. I mean, obviously, I didn't play Spider-Man, but I felt like I did because I was just watching it the whole time.
Right. By proxy, yeah.
Totally, by proxy. I think that's a really good sort of breath of fresh air. It's totally different game style, totally different experience.
Yeah.
But being able to come back to Baldur's Gate and be like, okay, if we're feeling refreshed, we're feeling better about things, we could go about it, and this is fine. Mm-hmm. So, also something fun I noticed that I'd never done before. So, because we just play split screen co-op, right? That's just what we do, and we each made our own characters. You could just do that. Something that I'd never done before. So my husband was off doing something in the kitchen or something. He's like, "Oh, you're doing this battle. You could just disconnect your controller and play with one controller if you would like." And I mean, the game runs so much smoother with just one, which like is obvious, right? That's not like a surprise, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's so smooth. There were still some frame drops though, which surprised me. Even still, with only one like controller and the whole screen, I was just like, wow, I have so much power and it's all so smooth, and this is like basically a different game, low key, because I could just control everything. It's still a good game, but different. What I also found interesting though was that I was controlling my character that I usually control, even though now I'm essentially player one. But Daniel's character is still in the party, and you could just talk to any of your party members, right? And you could talk to the other avatar character, and so I did.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh my gosh,
weird.
what will happen here? Because this is an avatar character. And it basically says, like, they don't say anything. There's no dialogue. It just says, like, something where it's like, you could tell they're not entirely there. And they have kind of like a white face. And I'm just like, wait, that's so funny. Because no, they're not entirely there because the player is gone right now. So
that's funny.
I thought that was really interesting and kind of funny. Where it's kind of like a meta joke of like, they're not entirely there right now. It seems like something's, you know, like something's weird going on about them.
That's great.
So I thought that was funny. Yep, still a good game. We're at level 9 now, and level 12 is the max. So we're going into Act 3 with
level? That's crazy.
Well, not max level, but only a couple levels out. Only 3 more levels. Which is kind of surprising. I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised. No. I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if they, in a future like release, or if they were ever gonna do DLC. I have no clue this is a game they would do DLC. They've added so much to the base game. I don't know if they would add additional levels, because I would think that would seem reasonable. Like a lot of other games where you level do that, where it's like, oh, you capped it at 50, but in the next expansion, now you can go to level 60, right? You know.
But then you're also sticking to D&D rules, and D&D usually doesn't go beyond. It doesn't go beyond 20 anyway. So
it doesn't go beyond 20, but also honestly, even after level 10, Magic especially starts getting very, very strong and very hard to manage, even as a regular DM in a regular D&D campaign. So creating rules and ways to both respect the intent of those like spells and those options, but also still be able to cap it in such a way that you can play the game. I don't know if that is something they'll do. On one hand, I'm bummed you can't go above level 12, but on the other hand, I have to like respect it and understand it. It's just interesting. I'm like, man, I feel like we're leveling really fast. Like we're almost there. We're almost there.
That's crazy.
But my build has gotten even stronger. I mean, every build does, right? As you level, that's literally how it works. But so I don't know if I've shared it before. My build. So I have a Ranger tank build, which is something you can only really do in Baldur's Gate 3. You can't do it in actual D&D because they've changed the way Rangers kind of work. They made them good. So I'm a Black Dragonborn, which makes me resistant to acid damage. My background, and not my background, but it's like my Ranger ability allows me resistance to fire damage and cold damage.
Oh, so you're like resisting the elements.
Yeah, and I have a spell now called Protection from Poison, and I just cast it. It's just something I can cast in the morning. It lasts all day. It makes me poison resistant too. So I have 4 resistances naturally without anything else. And then I also wear heavy armor, which is really weird for a ranger, but it's an option you can get now with these rangers the way that they have them in Baldur's Gate 3. So I also have heavy armor, and I recently took tough, which is a feat that just gives you way more HP. So
yeah,
I'm just having the best time as a tank. But I also still, talk to animals. I got my little bird that follows me around, and he's super helpful.
That's cool.
I just feel like super strong. It's just so funny. I'm like, I act like a fighter or a barbarian even sometimes, but I'm just like a raw tank. I just throw me in there. And so what we'll do is I will run into the fray, and bait all the enemies, and they'll run at me.
Soak up all the damage.
And then soak up that damage. And then my husband, he's a sorcerer, and he specializes, he has a lot of fire magic, so he loves to cast fireball everywhere, as magic users do. So then he'll just...
yeah.
And I take half the damage. I'm resistant to fire damage. So he'll just blow up the whole area, and I'm fine. And then everybody around me is dead. It's awesome.
I like watching them do the little hand movements and stuff, like when you do like the magic classes. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's fun to make fun of the, especially the spells they use more often. We're starting to just like make fun of the way that they say it. So, like, Firebolt, he uses Fireball a lot, so that's Ignis.
Yeah.
And then Shadowheart, whenever she does Sacred Flames, does something that's like Incantus. And then will say Dolo every time he does a Witch Bolt. So every once in a while I'm like, I just need to Dolo him. So super fun.
That's great.
Anyway, yeah. So, great game, and I will say the experience as playing local split screen co-op does get better with every patch. It's just, will it ever be perfect? I don't know. Probably not. Probably shouldn't expect perfection. But there's still weird things that just happen, and that's just something we have to accept, I suppose. But anyway, that's all I've been playing.
Nice. So I think I definitely beat Spider-Man as well by the time, I think last week. I also am waiting for that New Game Plus update, mostly because there's just quality of life improvements that I want them to make. So I'm like, I miss the ability to change the time of day and just other little things
that's
like that.
huge, yeah. So my husband, because I know you're big into game photography, so my husband actually, he's been doing pictures and stuff in the game too, and he's been trying to, he wants to emulate the Spider-Verse, like, upside down, falling into the city, that most iconic shot. He wants to recreate it, but you can't in Endgame because you can't turn it to nighttime. So,
so that's a big one for me. And there's just other, like, in-game things that, like, I won't spoil, but it's just like, I'm like, okay, I guess you can't do that, I guess you can't do this sort of thing anymore, or it's like stuff that should change when you change suits that doesn't, and I'm just like, oh, that's kind of lame.
Totally.
So yeah, I'm also waiting to new game to 100% it until they make those improvements, if they make those improvements.
Yeah, I hope so.
So yeah, I've been playing. I did pick up the RoboCop video game last week. And this is one of those things where I figured it was going to be bad, but it's actually really not. It's halfway decent. Like, it's definitely not, like... I wouldn't tell some first-person shooter elitist to go play this, because it's definitely not going to feel great, because you're a walking tank, basically. So, there's definitely things you do that, he moves slow. You can take a lot of damage. But it's straight up like in the movie. They use the UI looks straight out of the movie, like when you target people and stuff like that. There's like this like focus like slow-mo button you can use. It's definitely on the nose, like with like the humor of the original movies. Like he even has like cheesy one-liners. That's so dumb.
Stupid,
it's like this
cheesy
retro
one-liners, bro.
Yeah. Yep, and it's like this old retro cyberpunk style thing, because it's not like totally futuristic, but it's like in the 80s when these movies got made, it's like, well, you couldn't really get too futuristic with it anyway, so it's like this halfway kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's actually this kind of really neat side quest that I don't know if it's a side quest thing, it's just part of the main thing, but there's this mission that I didn't expect to like feel for. You're looking for this missing cop, and so you find this guy who, like, I guess this cop helped out a lot, and his name is Pickles, and he's like this like addict guy who's kind of like known, like a known criminal kind of, but he's like this cop that's gone missing has like helped rehabilitate. So he's like, yeah, I can help you. So like you run around with this guy for a while that's helping you find his friend, and so his name. I love how he got his name because he basically says, "Oh, like I got the name Pickles because." I tried to make this score, and all I stole was a bunch of pickles. And he goes, I still sold them, mind you. And he goes, I think I still have some. But he's like, I still sold them on the streets because I needed the money. And I was like, oh, wow. And then so it's just this whole, of the story, the story of this guy who's just kind of stuck living, off of the streets, repenting and kind of helping you and things, and I was like, oh, this is kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that out of this game, but it's a very B tier licensed game.
Sure.
It's almost like Deus Ex Light kind of, because you have the open city that's sort of open. You can upgrade RoboCop, you can increase focus, you can increase. You can actually go around the city and investigate stuff. You can even there's these side objectives that are tickets. If somebody's parked next to a fire hydrant, you can totally slap a ticket on their car if you want. So there's stupid stuff like that. But it's kind of fun. It's definitely one of those things. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody, but I'm just this is a really okay 6 to 7 out of 10 game.
Sometimes you need that. Right.
Yes, and so it's one of those things. It's I grew up on at least this the first movie, so I caught up with my brother over the weekend, and I was like, "Hey, I'm playing this game," and he's like, "I am too," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's totally on brand for me and my brother because we grew up off of a bunch of these licensed games that we grew up not really playing a lot of stuff like Mario or a lot of the Final Fantasies and stuff like that. We grew up on cheesy licensed games from various Disney properties and comic book properties, and so this was. I'm like, oh, RoboCop's game is coming out. I'm definitely going to check it out. It's probably not going to be good. But, I've had fun with it.
Sweet.
The other thing that I started playing, basically another recommendation from my brother. It's an old RPG we did get to try it back in the day called Star Ocean.
Oh, and yeah, this one is talk about Star Ocean.
Yes, and this one's Second Story R. Basically, it's a remake of, I think it came out. I don't know if it came out on the Super Nintendo first and then the PlayStation. I know we definitely played the PlayStation 1, which I remember looking very pretty back in the day. It definitely had some animated intro stuff. Kind of reminded me of the thing they did with Chrono Trigger. But even he said this game, he's it's actually pretty solid. You should check it out. And I'm not the biggest RPG guy. It's, there's some that I attach to and then some that I'm just I kind of got bored. But this one, they don't quite do the Octopath thing. But the characters are definitely still sprites, but the environments are actually got some detail to them. They're not quite diorama. They look like fully 3D modeled environments kind of. But it's a fun game. I'm enjoying it. Basically, kid in space gets warped into this fantasy world. Is kind of the plot. Very very isekai like and. It's cool. It also reminded me of how older RPGs definitely there's so much intro to get through because there's this whole explanation about oh, here's our world, and then here's why we think you might be the hero or this hero of legend or whatever. Here's why. And I did get kind of bored in the beginning because I'm okay, you spent time giving me this whole thesis on why you think I'm the hero, and I'm just that probably could have been and done in 5 sentences, and I'm okay, let's go, so it just reminded me of how dialogue heavy, especially the old JRPGs are and stuff like that. But once I got through all that intro stuff, I was okay, cool. It's definitely got some action based combat.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm liking it so far, so I'm definitely gonna stick with this one and keep playing it. So
yes, I need more, and I know I haven't even started playing Sea of Stars yet. It's on my list. I honestly may not even get to it till next year, but it's on my list.
Yeah, Sea of Stars
is awesome, but it's I think we're in a little bit of a this game, that game. Maybe we're entering a little bit of a renaissance when it comes to this. And Octopath Traveler 2 also came out this year.
Yes, and that game I picked up because I played the demo, and I'm ooh, I'm not a JRPG guy really, but
yeah,
I played the demo, and I'm I need to buy this game. The story is so good.
Totally, yeah. It's they're bringing it back and bringing it back in a good way. People are interested in it again. You still have the action RPG games, and that's awesome. I still obviously love Final Fantasy 16, right? We all did, but
oh yeah,
But I think there's something to be said too about like sort of the 2D pixel art, especially the 2D HD is such a good, beautiful way to present these games in a way that's sort of like, oh well, it's still like it kind of still has that modern charm. It mixes the modern charm and the old style charm. Like it kind of creates this perfect synthesis of those two things. And I think people really are sort of hankering for the turn-based style again, but then with a twist or with something interesting. So you have most JRPGs have some sort of twist in their combat, some sort of interesting thing. So
they're definitely making them more accessible too, because like in most old RPGs, it's like, oh, when you die, they just take you back to the title screen and you got to go to the save point, and restart again. So that part used to discourage me a lot, but this one, it's like, oh, I can just retry right from the battle now. So I'm just like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, I think that's
so
huge.
if it's like, because then I'm like, if I made a mistake, I can fix it real quick, or I can be like, how did I mess up? Or then it's like, oh, okay, maybe I don't have a few heals. Maybe I need some more heals, or maybe I need some more items to help me out. So then I'm like, okay, at that point, let me go prepare.
Exactly, And, I think a lot of these older games, people would just be like, well, it's easy because as long as you grind, then like it's just a matter of how much you grind, and then you grind enough, and then you I don't know, you win, I guess, but that almost seemed like the whole strategy, where it seems like some of these newer games, it's like, well, if you have strategy, you can win. And maybe you're still in a position where you're still going to want to take a step away and grind a bit, like maybe you are legitimately under-leveled or whatever, but I think, in my experience, some older RPGs, you really, really have to rely on that grind in order to even have a chance, and sure have a strategy, but it seems like that's almost less important than just the levels, where it seems like some of these newer games, it's a little bit more balanced in that way. It's like you maybe don't have to grind so much. Like if you have a good strategy or if you have a plan, then you can kind of keep going forward. But I just really would love, especially I know this is a remake too, I really want some remakes of like, I don't know, Breath of Fire 2, multi Breath of Fire 2, because it's still but
well, that's like Star Ocean is definitely known. I think maybe a little bit more than Breath of Fire, but like it made me think of that, because there's like a lot of obscure RPGs out there that, like Star Ocean is still pretty obscure, even though there's been like a bunch, even though there's been a bunch of them.
Totally.
So it's it makes me think of games like that could use a refresh.
I would love that.
Or like Golden Sun or something, like there's still RPGs out there that I think need it.
I really would like that. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they actually would. I want them to, but I don't know if they would. And there's still something really awesome and great about the full crazy Final Fantasy VII style remakes that are just like totally change the gameplay and the art and all this. Like
there's ways to have both.
There's room for both. Exactly. We don't always have to have the Final Fantasy VII remake, but we don't always have to just re-release the same game. You could still update it in some way. It doesn't have to necessarily do the full 3D modeling update. You can do the 2D HD route. You could do just like quality of life. Heck, just quality of life updates. If they were to re-release something like Breath of Fire 2 and they put in a lot of quality of life updates, or games like that, games of that era, there are so many different JRPGs of that era, with just some quality of life updates, that's like almost all you need. Like you don't even have to update the art. You don't even have to update
Star Ocean gives me an exclamation point of where I need to go on the map. I'm like, oh, I just need to know I go that direction.
Yeah, or like not like having to make sure you talk to the right NPC and then
I don't literally need you to hold my hand all the way through. Just point me in the right direction.
Exactly. Just an acceptable level of accessibility, and who knows, you maybe even have the option to turn it on or off. Maybe even have it as an option of like, oh, when you talk to the right person, or you get a little indicator to talk to the right person or to go to the right place, where you could turn it off if you don't want that. Like, I don't know. I think more options for games like these are better, personally.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's what I've been playing. I'm super excited to try to play more. So we'll get into some gaming news. The first one is pretty crazy. A lot of people have come back to Fortnite because Fortnite released a a season called Fortnite OG. It's not even really called, like, it doesn't even have a label as a season. Because I think it's only going to last like a month or so. They're basically going through, week 1 is going to be like season 1, week 2 is going to be like seasons 2 through something, and then like as it goes on, they're basically they went back to the old map. Like, I've gotten back into it as well. And they've basically gone back to the old map, released unvaulted the old guns, and that they basically
it's like WoW
out
Classic.
old items again. Yes, actually, yes, that's a good way to.
Or some, I don't know.
WoW, I feel like WoW Classic is a good way to put it, except like they still left the new mechanics in, and the graphics still look better.
Yeah.
And then even for zero build, they realized, oh, well, nobody's building in this mode, so let's put zip lines and other things everywhere, so that way like people can still like get around where they need to. But I say all that to say that this weekend they hit their highest player count ever, which is 44.7 million players in a day.
Probably
huge.
Brought all those folks back who ditched Fortnite a long time ago because the meta changed so much and all these weird things that they added on.
Yes, because there are seasons where even I've dipped out. Like, I mean, I think up until recently I hadn't been back a couple times just because I didn't like the way things were feeling. But I went back last season off and on. But you know, the way that game changes is like, yeah, there's definitely been players that have dropped off quite a lot that haven't played in years. Like, even a couple of my friends from work are like, yeah, I'm getting back on it because I haven't been back, and like, oh, my favorite weapon's back. I'm like, oh, that's cool, like, awesome. Just the memes and the TikToks about people going back to Fortnite have been hilarious. So I think it's cool. We'll have to see, I guess, what they do after. But I think it's great. I think you know, this is definitely like the Nickelback of video games because it's super popular. And there's, you know, people like to hate on it. I was one of them. I mean, it's okay. You know, if you don't like something, you don't like something. You know, that's totally cool. Or if it's not your cup of tea, all right, cool. But yeah, I think it's neat. It's getting a lot of people back together, and just a lot of squads who haven't played together in a while, and things like that. So, and it's got people feeling nostalgic, which feels weird to say about a game that was in its height in 2018. So,
well, see, that's what I was thinking. That was the sort of like other half joke when it comes to it's like WoW Classic is like WoW is so old that's like very significant. I don't know. For me, I'm like Fortnite is not that old. Maybe I'm getting old.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of what would be a good equivalent. I mean, but like WoW Classic is like that is the best comparison. It'd be like if you took Minecraft back to like old, like vanilla. Like, I don't know how far you want to take. You can do that anyway. I guess. Do that.
But you're right. It's that was like a new thing. If they had all these updates and all these things, and you said like, oh, now you have vanilla Minecraft that you can just do. Like, yeah. Because I'm the same way with Minecraft. I'm like, there's too many things. I can't pay attention. Like, why are there just... There's too many things.
It's still kind of different, but yeah. But, yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely, like, getting people back to... It would be, like... I guess what would feel more cool to me is if, like, Call of Duty goes back to, like, the original Warzone map, because that's when I myself and a lot of people dropped off on Call of Duty Warzone, is when they got rid of that old map. And I'm just like... That would be me, because especially, like, in the height of, like, COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be like, oh, yes, take me back there. So that's what I would want. I would want Call of Duty to try to, like... I guess I want this to succeed, so that way Call of Duty can be like, oh, hey, Warzone players, let's go back to the old map. Because I will be back. Yeah, so I'm hoping... I mean, it seems like this is doing well already. They are bringing back old skins for a short time, like for 24 hours. I didn't end up getting it, but they brought back I don't know if it was a new skin, but there was an 11 skin, and then there was... they were brought back Hopper and Demigorgon skins, which are super rare, because there was the time where Stranger Things was taking all their licensed stuff off of digital platforms. So I was like, oh, that's pretty nice, because then... If they're releasing these rare skins again, that gives people a chance to, like, get something if they really missed out on it, if they really wanted it. So that's cool, too. But yeah, I think anybody who's played Fortnite is probably already playing again because of these records, but good on Epic.
Yeah.
And I just hope you are not killing your devs inside by doing all of this in a short time. So
it's just like such a crazy cycle though. Like,
yes.
Oh, here's the game. It's so popular. We gotta keep the popularity. We gotta add more things. Gotta add more things. You know, the meta changes, evolves. Yep. A lot of people leave, but probably more people are coming in. A lot of people are talking about it. It's a couple years old at this point. Go back, hit the reset button, go back to the beginning. You're bringing all those old fans again. Like, that's just so...
Yep.
Toxic isn't necessarily the right word, but that's the word that came to my head. I'm just like, oh, that's so toxic.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah. There's definitely, like, lore reasons, which I think is cool, too.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, but still, it's just... Yeah, it's definitely, like, it is kind of, like... There is, like, a scummy side to it, I guess, too. It's, like... Not that they have had a problem with their player count, but it's like, oh... You guys want more money, or you guys want more players? Oh, let's just go back.
I mean...
And it's working for them.
But I guess what I will say... Because I don't really play any of those types of games that are actively updated and, like, online and multiplayer. Like, I just don't really play those games at all. But I would say, if Fire Emblem Heroes hit the reset button, went back to square one, I would go back. Because that meta last couple years has been stupid. The game is crazy now. There's just and that's the life cycle of most of these games. Most MMOs, most online competitive, online games in general that are actively updated, have active players constantly.
I guess Warcraft is, like, that comparison you made is pretty spot on, too, because they had to bring back Classic because the way it is now is so...
It's just so
like,
different.
They just announced a multi-tiered expansion, I think. I'm not talking about any BlizzCon stuff on the news, but I saw they announced a multi-tiered, like, multi-chapter, I guess, long, like, expansion. Again, like, so they're trying to do this big event and stuff like that. I'm like, Warcraft is probably the best comparison to, like, this Fortnite stuff.
Yeah, but it's wild. I get it. I don't really know how else a life cycle for games like that would go.
Right.
But my gosh, sometimes it gets too much. It gets too much.
And so with this, hopefully they realize, oh, like, maybe simple and, you know, is also good.
Yeah, maybe.
Instead of overloading, so hopefully there will be some lessons learned. But, so that's Fortnite. The other news, I think, is kind of cool. I know there's probably another well-known game out there. Ark, formerly known as Survival Evolved, just got an Unreal Engine 5 upgrade called Survival Ascended. And that's on Steam now already. I guess at the beginning of this month, I think the 14th, it's coming to Xbox. Which is kind of, they've been having, like, a deal with Xbox lately for their advertisements and all that, so this doesn't surprise me. But then I think 2 weeks later, or towards the end of November, PlayStation is going to be getting it. So those are, like, official console releases. If I can maybe get, like, some kind of half-price upgrade or half-price, like, sale, because I do own Ark on PlayStation, I'd be down. I think it's a whole new game, so unfortunately, like, me and my buddies got into this a couple years ago, too. We have forts and all kinds of stuff. I think we even went back to in the last couple of years, full of, like, dinosaurs and everything, and all this stuff we built. So it's like, I think this would be a nostalgic thing for me. Would be going back to Ark. So cool. If anybody's dropped off of that for a while, this is like a whole remaster from the, like, upgrade graphically. So this is finally coming to consoles. I was wondering when it was going to come to consoles myself. So, if you're missing some dino action in your life, if you're a fan of dinosaur properties, I think Ark is definitely a good way to go. So,
sweet.
Yeah, that's it for gaming news. Have you watched any new movies lately, or any old movies?
I've actually not watched anything. I don't think I've watched any movies or any shows. I've just played a lot of Baldur's Gate. That's just what I've been doing. What about you?
I did watch a little bit of it. I didn't finish it, but I did put on, for whatever reason, this movie has just been in my head lately, but I put on that movie Robots, the animated movie. I think it's got Ewan McGregor, I think, and Robin Williams is in it too. It came out like 2005, I think. Yeah.
He's the
so he's kind of the unhinged. Robin Williams is definitely like the unhinged one. And just I feel like I haven't watched a movie with Robin Williams doing voices or being in it for a while either.
Mm-hmm.
So hearing him kind of like just do what Robin Williams does was funny. Like there's this line where he's like taking pictures of like tourists or something, and it's like one of my favorite lines because he goes, "Give me big anime eyes," and I'm just like, oh, it was so good. Like I don't know, like it just warmed my heart to hear that line again.
Pretty funny. That movie's got some
it
good
is,
jokes.
and it's definitely got the Pixar thing with it though. It's like, oh, there's so much illogical stuff going on here with like
talking
robots
it's the cars
and stuff
problem.
like that.
It's the that's
Yes.
true. It's more than just cars,
Yes.
but it's what I first think of is if
Definitely
this is how
cars.
things are, like Toy Story, like that is true.
Like,
it is the Pixar problem.
How does this work? At least I like in the beginning when they're like, oh, you have like, oh, the baby's coming and it literally gets like delivered to them, and then it's like, oh, here's your teenager parts or something like that, and I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense, even though it still doesn't make sense. They're talking and living like families and stuff, but I'm like, oh, that's funny, and then he gets the hand-me-down parts or whatever, and it's like,
it's very funny, but it is creative in that way.
Yeah. No, yeah, but I still really enjoy that movie. That was good to watch again.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. I should probably watch it again.
I know. Oh, that for whatever reason it has been in my head the last couple of weeks, and I'm just like, I need to watch it, and so I finally did because it's on Max, I think.
Oh, cool.
So,
okay.
Yes, I remember looking at it somewhere or like trying to find out what it was on, and I was like, okay, yep, I'm watching this. So.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's what I watched. Why don't we get into movies?
Yeah. So, actually, first let's talk about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
Got a trailer. So, if you're not caught up on the Planet of the Apes lore, it's okay. I just very quickly looked it up because I didn't realize this was still going on, and for me, it's like, wow, there's another Planet of the Apes movie. Didn't we just have one? Even though it's not like we just had one. I think the last one was 2017, so that's a while ago at this point. That was like 6 years ago.
I think we have a Bible study on it.
Yeah, so, which is fine. But anyway, this is the next movie, and it takes place like generations after that last one. And I never like watched those movies, but I know that the apes couldn't always just like talk fluently. They just can do that now, and which is actually very cool. Sort of world building in that way. It's like,
I think in the third one, I don't really remember a lot of the third one, but they actually were in the third one. But I remember the first one the most, and then the second one I saw a few times, which I bought them on 4K because they were on sale for like $15 a couple months ago. Because I'm like, I know I want to watch these again at some point, and here's why. Yeah. But because I guess this movie's coming out. But the first one is so good because it's like straight up from modern times, and like, or I guess not modern now, but contemporary era. And then you get to watch things not progress, but I guess degress. You know, like how the world changes into the quote unquote Planet of the Apes. And so this is just further down the line. This fourth movie.
Yeah,
so I'm excited.
It looks really cool. I like the it looks very pretty. Like the CGI looks really good.
All the movies are pretty. Like I think maybe the first one might be a little outdated now in some regards. But yes, it is really like they're really all pretty movies.
Yeah, it looks really pretty.
They
especially
use
like
part animatronic. Well, not animatronics, but they use like the mocap because Andy Serkis was like a big part of the original trilogy.
Right, that's right. I don't know if he's in this one.
He played Caesar. Yeah, no, I don't think he's in this one because unless he's in like a flashback or something.
Right, I was like, this is generations after. Like he's long gone at this point. But it looks cool, and you could see. I mean, really, is the kingdom of the Planet of the Apes like they're ruling, and humans are kind of on the other hand, where they're just scrounging.
Humans
around.
have regressed.
They've regressed. They're the one. They're trying to survive. They do not have any power. So you kind of see in the trailer, there's like this. Kind of you get to see that relationship between the apes versus each other, because they don't all like get along necessarily either. But
yeah,
it's like them, but then also the humans. I don't know. I mean, it looks interesting, especially if you like these movies already. Definitely go check that out.
I think this one is about Caesar's son. I could be wrong because I know he had sons in like the second or third one, but I think it's Cornelius is the name of the lead in this one.
Oh, okay, yeah, and I think it said it's coming on Memorial Day weekend, so
that's that's still pretty far.
It is pretty far. This is definitely coming out next year.
I'm down. I'm like, okay, like if y'all like, I wonder if they were gonna put it out later or earlier next year, and because of the strikes and everything like that, they like had to delay it further, which is okay. Yeah, I'm excited though.
Yeah. Well, there's that, and then also kind of want to touch on Blade. MCU Blade has been confirmed to be rated R, and this will kind of sort of form and segue into what we're going to be talking about TV a little bit later, of the MCU. Disney's kind of trying to become a little bit more mature and be like actually label it as such. So because I know with Doctor Strange too, everyone was saying like, oh, that's like one of the more mature, not like,
and then
mature,
Moon Knight.
Yeah, and like Moon Knight, they're just like not necessarily the most mature, but like in their content more mature. Like not saying the storytelling is necessarily the most mature, but like the content is less appropriate for children, right?
Yeah,
they're kind of starting to go in that direction, which I hope also equates deeper, more interesting characters and things like that. I hope it's not just like shock factor or hey look, this character's edgy, is gonna do edgy things, but there's no depth to them. Like I hope they're doing this for an actual reason other than, well, what we've been doing so far hasn't worked, the joke stuff, no one likes the jokes anymore, so we're gonna take a different angle. I mean, honestly, taking a different angle may work, but I hope that's not literally their only thought is like, oh, we just need to take a different angle. Like I hope they have some sort of creative intent behind it. I don't know if I trust Disney necessarily with creative intent anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least for Blade, it'll be, I mean, obviously, like, Deadpool was rated R, but Deadpool wasn't really MCU until, like, kind of, like, now there's, like, oh, is it MCU? Yep. Is it not? It's weird. So now we're kind of walking.
Yeah, because even Logan was rated R.
Yeah, so could be a step in the right direction, could not be. We really can't know. I honestly think... I personally think it's a step in the right direction simply because we had movies like Doctor Strange 2 that would have benefited from the straight up rated R. Like if that movie was straight up rated R and they were allowed to like just push a little more with what they already had going there, it would have been, I think, a much better movie. I think one of the reasons that movie was so awkward is because they tried to do these weird, dark, gruesome things and make, you know, like the characters really edgy and stuff, but they couldn't quite hit the mark. And I think this like something being able to literally just put a rated R rating on it would have maybe given Sam Raimi that extra wiggle room to create something that he wanted to.
Put out like a Red Band trailer or something.
Yeah, totally. That would have been awesome. So, but it doesn't really surprise me that they're trying to do this with newer and slightly more niche characters. Like, it's not like Blade is unknown, but like he's definitely not as popular as like Captain America or Iron Man, right? Like, and same as we're going to be talking about with Echo. Echo's really
I feel like you can do that with Blade. I mean, Blade's always been that way, but even like with Echo, like, because I think people would be shocked if like, oh, Captain America is going over there and beating somebody up and cussing.
It's like,
I mean, I guess he already kind of does that.
It's like the combination of not only is it already a more mature kind of idea of a character in the first place, but they can afford to actually do that because audiences are just overall less familiar. Like, it not only is it already kind of set up that way, they're just like, oh yeah, no, we can actually do this because, you know, no one really cares. Not that no one cares. Obviously, it's fine if you care about Blade. I'm just saying the greater Disney MCU watcher probably doesn't because they're too busy watching Loki. This sounds like an insult. I don't mean it as an insult. I just mean it as it is. Like they're too busy. They're too busy talking about the Avengers. And, you know, wanting a better Black Widow movie. I mean, I'm there. That's me.
Yeah.
I wish we had.
You definitely don't want the more popular characters going like rated R.
For sure, that's kind of what I mean to say. But and it would be interesting to see how this sort of pans out for the future. And I really hope we can also get to a point in which definitively you don't have to watch shows and movies in order to be able to watch other shows and movies. I really hope that I think we may even be getting to that point. I haven't watched the last couple shows, but I've heard that, well, what's weird about the Marvels, because that's out now, by the way, I think, or it's almost out.
I think it comes out at the end of this week.
Okay, it comes out soon. I think reviews are coming out for it, though. And it's just crazy because obviously, if you've watched the first Captain Marvel, then you know who Captain Marvel is. And this is technically, I think, a sequel, so it's fine. That's sort of an expectation that you watch the first one. But then you have these two other random characters that you have no idea who they are unless you, like, watch the shows. And that's kind of upsetting.
Because then you got mine.
Like,
that's true.
I'm not interested in watching... I watched WandaVision. That's where one of them's from. But I never watched Miss Marvel? Is that...
Miss Marvel. I think it was a fine show. Like I thought it was good, but then you get kind of like weird with some of the background of the character and stuff like that, and like the things they did there, which is like a whole nother like ordeal.
Yeah, I just like, why can't we? Yeah. I want Disney's MCU to reflect their other popular thing, Star Wars. Which they're not doing well, but they hit it with Andor. Is all I'm saying. Like, Andor technically is connected to Rogue One. Yeah. But you do not have to have seen Rogue One to watch Andor.
Yeah.
Like, so definitively. It just has, like, a guy who's from Rogue One. And that's kind of about it. You don't even see anybody else from Rogue One for the most part. It's, like, mostly just that guy. So, but then you have Ahsoka... And, like, everybody and their mothers tells me, like, well, because I asked them, I'm like, is it worth watching Ahsoka for someone who hasn't watched Clone Wars or Rebels? Is it even worth the watch? I've heard there's cool scenes, you know, generally trying to stay up and up on the Star Wars shows, or at least I was at the time.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, the answer is just to watch at least Rebels. Watch some Clone Wars, watch Rebels. And I'm like, listen, I've heard it's a good show, but no, I will not. Like, I am not about to watch a show just to watch another show. That's not. And maybe it's not worth
I would agree that Rebels is the one, because like Clone Wars, even though I did watch Clone Wars, that was still kind of a rough journey.
Yeah.
Because it took me years to finish Clone Wars.
Just,
and Rebels took me a lot less. Even though it's like only 4 seasons.
I would say it's like, I can admit when a show isn't for me, I suppose. Like, oh, that show wasn't made for me. I'm just saying it's not going to be profitable in the long run. And maybe they're seeing that now. The fruit of their... the rotten fruit of their labors. Like, at first it was a novel concept of like, oh, you get to watch all these things and all connected. That's really cool. But you can still watch them very standalone and it was fine. Now we kind of get to a point where it's like, I don't even know who these characters are anymore because they've only been in
and then those characters have gone through some really crazy stuff too, like, and it's just like, oh, like you won't really have that connection at all, and I'm just like, and I feel like that those are important things about those characters to understand, especially in Ahsoka. Yeah. Like, it's like, oh, there are things that are happening and things that characters are going through because of those past relationships.
And like, I'm super happy for those who like grew up watching Clone Wars and Rebels. Being able to have a show like Ahsoka for them, like, that's super cool for them. I just, Disney, don't expect me to watch it. I guess that's always the thing. It's like, they can create shows for those people as long as they also create shows and movies for the rest of us, right? Which, again, like, have they been doing? Kind of, not really.
Like I'll give Cobra Kai some credit, because it's like, you can watch Cobra Kai and see things like without having to like watch the Karate Kid movies, So it's just
just give you they do a good job.
They literally give you scenes from those movies.
Which, because I hear people saying too, like, oh, well, these new MCU movies, they give you all the context and exposition and stuff. Like, they tell you who these people are. I'm like, that's not really good enough. That doesn't actually do enough for me. But I do like how Cobra Kai, like, it's a cheesy show. Yeah. So it's not far-fetched. It doesn't take you out of it to have a flashback to
Right.
those original movies. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like a weird, oh, what are we doing now? Like, it matches the same energy because they actually had created a show that does match the same energy of those original movies really well, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So just seeing flashbacks feels very normal. It doesn't feel like, if they showed flashbacks in an MCU movie with like scenes of Miss Marvel, I'd be so confused.
Yep.
I'd be like, what?
Yep.
It's so strange.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But anyway, we could talk a little bit more about it too when we talk about Echo. But
Oh yeah.
But anyway, Blade's gonna be Radar, and that's our movie news.
Cool. Yeah, so we'll move on to TV. You watch anything in the TV world?
Nope.
No.
Nothing.
Okay, I did watch something. Which has been I feel like has been rare for me lately. I watched and Netflix came out with this new. I guess they got 2 new animated samurai themed shows because they have Onimusha, but then they also have one called Blue Eye Samurai, which is pretty cool. It's got this interesting style of like 2D animation. It makes me want to go back and play more Ghost of Tsushima, just because there are some very artistic shots and things they do.
Mm-hmm.
It is about a female. It's a revenge story, but it's about this female, this girl that basically, I guess, at least I've seen, I guess she was part of like an orphanage or whatever. She doesn't, like, her parents aren't around, but it's because she is. Obviously the thing says blue-eyed. It's called Blue Eye Samurai. She is of mixed race, I guess, which in feudal Japan back in the day was like crazy. I guess at one point, I think the thing at the beginning said like at one point they closed off their borders or something like that. They tried to deliver some context, but
Gotcha.
basically because her mother was from the country or whatever, and so she wants to basically get revenge on these people that weren't from, basically aren't like basically these people who aren't from Japan. It's like a whole revenge story, basically cursing her with these blue eyes or whatever, like being mixed race and or whatever. It's super good because she's also female, but she also like trains to be a samurai and stuff like that. She kind of gets
Heck yeah.
And this is all first episode stuff. She kind of this blacksmith finds her and raises her, and so she starts to learn from all these samurai and things like that. And so eventually she goes out on her own. And so not only does she have to hide that she's like a woman, but she also has to hide that she's mixed race and stuff like that. So her dealing with that stuff and basically a classic samurai revenge story is super cool. It definitely is rated TVMA. There is nudity. There's There is blood. It's one of those things where I do feel like the nudity they show so far, and it's really weird because it's in animation as well.
Yeah.
It definitely does not feel like it adds to anything. It definitely feels
Dang.
like I saw a headline somewhere because I was trying to read more about the show, and I feel like anything that's violent and has nudity gets the like, oh, this is like Game of Thrones kind of treatment. It's like when Final Fantasy 16 had, got like whenever that was mature, everybody's like, oh, this is like Game of Thrones, and I'm like, okay, that's too quick to like. You're just slapping that comparison on it because it's mature. I don't know if that's the case yet here. I like it. It definitely they show at the end of the episode kind of what's in store for the whole season kind of thing. I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be like a really fun show, I think, even though it is gonna have some of that stuff. So I'm gonna watch more. I'll probably talk more about it next week, but I really like the show so far. It's pretty cool. It's very artistic. It's a unique style of animation, and I think that's what's important. Is like the art of it is there.
Yes,
it's not just
sir.
some 3D. It's not even like a traditional 2D or anime style thing. It's definitely not like how Netflix has been doing this weird like 90s style like retro like animation, like because of Castlevania.
Right.
It's definitely got its own. It's definitely got its own art style, and I think that's really important.
You know, that reminds me of something I did watch, but it's not a show. It's just on YouTube, and apparently it's been going on for a long time. Like the first episode was released like 7 years ago, but the next there's only like 2 episodes. The second episode just released this year, so it's crazy. But it's called A Fox in Space. And it's a Star Fox fan-made animation. And what's so cool about it is that it feels straight up like a 90s kind of almost like Adult Swim cartoon like show. It's like kind of mature. It's not necessarily it's not necessarily made for kids, but there's not also like there's not like nudity or anything. In fact, I don't even know if there's like cursing I can think of. But it's just the art style is very unique. It's I don't know, they must use some sort of like type of rotoscoping or something. I don't really know they animate it, but the pure vibes you get from it, even if you've never watched Star Fox or played the games or anything, if you don't know much about Star Fox, I recommend that you check it out just because it's like all the voice acting is so good. The feel of what you like the vibes. I can't I'm sure people who have already seen it know what I'm talking about. With like the vibes are just so immaculate.
I feel like this surfaced, like the news about this surfaced like a few years ago. I feel like.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely know what you're talking. I think I know.
It's really I don't know. I just only recently discovered it. I think because the creator uploaded 2 new videos like pretty recently, like 2 new animations. They're not like full episodes of A Fox in Space, but they're like little bits and. They're like super good. I'm just like, freaking, this is cool. Why have I discovered this earlier? This is awesome. So, but that reminds me, guys, like it's having your own like sort of unique animation style and like sort of thing you're going for in order to sort of have it complement the themes and the tones and that's how it should be, right? So
definitely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's what I watched. Super good show. Maybe I'll drop the trailer in the podcast chat for y'all to check it out. And but I like it. So we'll get into the TV news, and I don't really know what else there is to say about Echo, but we have the trailer for it, and it's definitely rated R. Is like I'm just like, oh wow, like okay, like I didn't know what to expect from Echo, just because in Hawkeye I'm like, okay, I don't really know this character at all, but I'm like, oh dang, like it looks brutal. So
yeah,
I guess we'll have to see, but I mean it's a show that I didn't know if I really cared about before, and I'm like, oh okay, I'm gonna watch this. Just to kind of for the action and the fun. I don't know if fun factor is the right word, but I'm like, it's gonna be entertaining at the very least, I hope.
For sure.
So
yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if it's gonna be fun. Maybe.
I mean, and again, like I think it's maybe also because it's a character that nobody really knows or cares about, like like Andor. I don't think a lot of people cared about Andor and Rogue One. Everybody's like, who's that? I don't know.
Yeah, they can kind of just do whatever.
And I think with Echo, I think they could try to achieve that with Echo.
Yeah, so. I think it could be really cool. It's just, man, it's rough because I remember watching Hawkeye, the show. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, wow, this is like kind of a cheesy but like fun Christmas show. Like it is centered around Christmas. It was very much a Christmas show. And then you have this really cool antagonist. Like, wow, she's so cool. Like she almost doesn't fit here. She's just really, really interesting. And like her modes were interesting, her character's interesting, all this is pretty cool. And then like not long after that, they announced that they were going to be making a show just around her, and I'm like, man, that's a great idea. That's so cool. But I've just been so burnt out on Marvel the last year. It feels like it's been longer, but I'm pretty sure. Actually, not sure if Hawkeye came out last year. Did it come out last year or the year before?
It might have been the year before.
Okay. That's actually more reasonable. I'm like, was that last year? Because I think it's just been so much time. And that's fine. But the fact is, I'm just so burnt out. And again, I don't even necessarily know it's Marvel's fault. Maybe it's also my
2021.
fault. 2020. Okay, good. I was like,
I'm in a place.
it feels.
I'm in a place where I'm very hesitant to watch anything Marvel related.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like,
even though like I liked Guardians. Guardians was really good.
Yeah, it's just even the trailer can be deceptive because Disney's lied in trailers all the time. That's what they do. They love to lie in trailers. That's just they want
like putting Hulk in place of the Hulkbuster.
Yeah, so deceiving. So even then, I can't necessarily trust like the trailer to be good. It's like I really do just have to wait for all of it to come out. For you and Cody or whoever else to watch it, because Cody will probably watch it at least.
Like I've been hearing Loki's really good, but I'm just like I'm nervous to keep watching it just because I'm like I don't know if I'm gonna be let down or not. You know,
and it sucks how that's the case too. That even some of these more interesting or like it starts off good shows.
Secret Invasion was really weak too.
Yeah, if they don't end well, then what's the point? And these shows are they're so short.
They struggle with that.
They have to end
ending well.
Right? Like, you can have a show like Game of Thrones, and obviously most people say, like, the ending still ruined it, but a lot of people still, like, really enjoyed Game of Thrones because it was super long, and it was really good, just until the end. And, like, sure, maybe you wouldn't recommend watching Game of Thrones to someone, like, telling someone to watch Game of Thrones now because of that ending, but a lot of people are like, yeah, but it was so good up until that point, it might still be worth it. These shows are so short, they do not have, they can't afford to have a bad ending because that ending is like a fourth of the show, right?
Yeah.
And like Cody's always talking about the penultimate episodes for a lot of these Marvel shows just feeling like filler. And it's crazy because these shows are so short. How do you
They try to sweep up so fast.
Yeah.
They try to sweep it up so fast and be like, oh, hey, we were doing this thing. Let's end it.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Like, they can't afford to mess up these endings.
That just reminded me, because you were talking about endings and just the way these shows are written. I forgot to mention Invincible. Because
oh my gosh, I forgot that came out. Oh, frick.
Yes.
I'm so behind.
Yes, because then I'm like, oh, and it's only one episode because I was really disappointed. I was like, wait, that's it? They also have the Adam Eve special, if you haven't watched that.
That's true,
yet,
I have not yet.
It just made me realize, like, I think Invincible was like 8 to 10 episodes, and I think that's definitely longer than, I could be wrong about the episode count, but that's definitely longer than Marvel. But it's like, oh, they stuck the landing on that show so well. I mean, that whole show was written really good, but even having that show back made me go like, oh yeah, like we left this world on a sour note. And it was really like well thought out, whereas Marvel stuff is just that last episode, everything's so rushed. Mm-hmm. So it's just like the comparison there. I'm just like, okay, yeah, this is why this was my favorite show for when it came out. Like this is why it's probably one of my new all-time favorite shows. But yeah, just the comparison of the writing. But I'm looking forward to Echo. I mean, I'm at least gonna give it a shot. So we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully. I hope it's good. It's just, I don't know.
I hope it is too.
Like, I there's this history, and it's MCU. It's not Sony, but I just think about there's this history that these Spider-Man villains have that don't feature Spider-Man. They just feature the villain. And like, I don't think Echo's per se a Spider-Man villain. I'm just thinking of
Echo's definitely a Daredevil villain.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of Kingpin.
So I'm just like, oh,
which I guess is also a Daredevil villain, but is also a Spider-Man villain. He's a New York villain.
Definitely like a Marvel, yeah.
So maybe it'll
mainly
be fine.
Spider-Man and Daredevil.
And maybe it'll be fine that level. I just my brain goes to these stupid Sony projects where they're trying to like make these villain movies, but they can't really make them the villain because of the protagonist, and Spider-Man can't even be in it anyway. So probably this won't have that
I hope Echo doesn't have that problem.
That would suck.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of it. I mean, we didn't really talk about it either, but Marvel, there's a lot of stuff that came out about Marvel being in a weird place too in the last couple of years, like things they were going to do that they didn't end up doing, so I think they had a big old article on like a magazine or something come out about it recently, but we'll have to see. This last piece of news for TV, I guess, is very specific, I think, to me, just because I enjoyed this show so much, and it's real successful. It was a hit. But today, the showrunners of the show The Bear have confirmed that Season 3 has been greenlit, I guess, or it's been renewed for Season 3. which I think it's so good. The Bear is still a really good show, and I talked about it on here before. But it's just, you definitely see the highs and the lows. Like, it just feels like you're watching real life, you know? Like, there's definitely a lot of, I don't know, the way stuff can get written is very, like, sugar-coated and things. Like, it's not one of those shows that's like, oh, they're just gonna win every time. There's definitely a roller coaster ride of some things these characters go through. And it's, again, I was talking about, like, the way shows are written, like, you know, earlier with Invincible and stuff. Like, this is a really well-written show. So I would encourage people. I mean, it's definitely an adult. Like, there's definitely mature themes and stuff. There's, like, a lot of, like, family drama and stuff like that. But it's a really good show. And especially, like, there's definitely some stuff in there to, like, I think, like, people like Cody might get, it might be weird for them to watch, you know, just because if you work in the food industry, like, it's probably, it could be triggering as well. But I've heard some real cool stuff. Like, a lot of the people in that show, like, learned how to, like, actually, like, cook and do things that weren't actually cooks. I think the one guy that is an actual chef plays, like, the repairman or something like that, which I think is hilarious. So it's good though. I recommend watching the show. It's a very bingeable show. You could burn through it if you really enjoy it. So that's about it. That's all I got to say about the Bear. I love it. So yeah. So that is going to be it for all the news and everything. Do you have anything else you want to share or geek out about before we wrap it up?
No. I think the only thing I was going to mention is there's a chance I won't be around either next week or the week after or both, just depending because it's all holiday stuff. But this weekend is Port Priority 8, which is a huge Smash tournament happening in the Seattle area, so I'll be going.
Nice.
It'll be fun. It's looking to be the most stacked tournament of the year, which is crazy. Just the number of top level players coming out is insane. I think we finally reached 1,000 competitors, which is also crazy. So I'll talk about that probably, how that goes. Sweet. I can only imagine it's going to end in a super epic way. It's just funny because, like, all my friends, all my people I know in the Smash community, the local Smash community, are all like, well, my second round is going into this top 10 worldwide player, so that's fun. Like,
wow.
Because there's just all of these really insanely talented people. Like, all these people,
that's kind of cool.
Multiple people who have been top 8'd other majors at this tournament to the point where it's like, well, this is just going to be like top 32. It's just going to be like what's usually a top 8. It's crazy. So it's going to be a fun watch.
Exciting.
It's going to be good energy. And I haven't been able to go to any Smash tournaments in a long time. I'll be playing Rivals at this one. Sure. I don't even know if I'll be playing Smash per se, but I think the energy is going to be really fun, and I'm excited for that. So I'll talk about that.
For sure.
I don't know. I guess next time I record.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I do have something else. I do have something else I want to bring up. We just finished. So me and my buddy have partnered. Our D&D campaign we've been partnering with. It's actually under our friends at Comics and the Cross. Some awesome folks I know under their YouTube channel, and we do also have a separate like Spotify podcast thing going for it. But we just finished the first chapter of the campaign that I've been involved in, called the Book of Astra. It's like a sci-fi western. I've mentioned it on here before, but yesterday I think I think it might already be on YouTube. I'm gonna publish that episode later this week on Spotify. But we finished our first chapter, so if anybody's looking for some more D&D content to listen to, there's definitely the first few episodes where we kind of had to get our footing, especially with tech issues and just, you know, as the party kind of gets comfortable with each other. But there's definitely a point where I think we hit the stride, and I think my buddy who's DMing, he's got a really cool story planned out. My character has definitely gone through some crazy things at this point, and I think all our characters have. He's doing really good at giving each character like a bit of the spotlight and the limelight, and like developing our own stories along with the story that's going on. I like it. It's super fun, and it's really cool to be like partnering with those people at Comics and the Cross as well.
That's super
they have their own separate campaign they're also doing as well. So But yeah, I've been soaking up the D&D action almost every Sunday night lately, and it's been super fun. It's feeding that urge. I've been after hearing you and Cody talk about it for a good while, I'm back all up in it. And so so if everybody wants to check it out, you can look up Comics and the Cross on you can look it up through Comics and the Cross. It's called the Book of Astra on YouTube, and then on Spotify it's just straight up called Book of Astra. So I wanted to plug that, but I'm super enjoying it.
Sweet.
So
yeah.
That's about it. Shelley, where can they find you at?
Find me on Twitter at theshellshock24.
Right on. And then you can find me on Instagram and Twitter under LJ the Paladin. Keep gaming, keep praying, and God bless.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter, or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.